I'm Alex. I'm with Cloze. Thanks for joining our EXP CRM of Choice session. Really appreciate you joining today. Today, we're going to talk about how you can use Cloze on a daily basis. Get into a rhythm of using it as part of your routine, part of your morning routine. All the top agents I know have a routine. Cloze will help you stay in live flow with your most important clients, stay in live flow with your sphere. We've got all kinds of automation. We'll also talk about how we can supplement that with your live flow. So today I'm going to go through a mix of slides and presenting on my phone and on my computer. At the beginning here, I'm going to do a recap of some of the organizing techniques you learned in our class last Wednesday. So if you've been following along, we've been kind of doing a rotation of 3 different classes here. Today we'll dive into using Cloze daily, but I do want to give you a little bit of a recap on organization. That's all about organizing your core sphere. So if you remember from that class, or if you haven't attended, the goal is to organize the people that matter most to your business and not really worry about the ones that you may have glanced off your sphere. Cloze will automatically capture all those people, but really want you focused down on the core sphere because that's where your repeat clients and referrals are going to come from. Then we're going to dive into how you can use Cloze daily. And some of that will be organizing as you go, but we'll talk about keep in touch reminders, recurring anniversaries, that kind of thing, just to make sure that you're on top of your sphere and staying close to them. So that's what I'm going to drill into today. If you got questions, our team is available on YouTube and in EXP World. So ask questions there and they will answer as I go. And then, of course, if I have time, I'll try to hit questions at the end. So from a recap perspective, we're going to go through a few things. Organizing around the client journey. So we have what are called stages, segments, and tags. Stages and segments are going to help you with the journey. So I've got a hot buyer, for example, or I've got a warm seller. That's all about the journey. Then we've got tags. Tags are a great way to organize outside of that client journey. Things like the people on your newsletter or that you want to send a holiday card to, things like that. You'll use tags for that. And then I'm going to review some settings with you. So common question we get is how do I sync contacts back out of Cloze? So Cloze does an amazing job of consolidating all my contacts in one place. How do I get them back in Outlook, or how do I get them back onto my phone or into Google Contacts? So I'll show you some settings as I go here. And then a very popular one in this community is connecting SkySlope. The nice thing about connecting SkySlope is it's going to bring in your transactions. It's going to bring in your listings. It's going to bring in your past clients, so the people that you've transacted with in the past. It's going to even auto organize those folks. So anybody you've worked with on your side, they'll get organized. And we're also going to set the purchase and sale anniversary date on those contacts. So it's a nice tip out of the gate. We're going to have other classes throughout the summer on things like setting up your team, Canva integration, all kinds of other things. But in this first series here in the first month, we're really focused on the basics, and then we'll get into more advanced topics as we go. So let's dive into organizing, and then we'll get on to the main event here. All right, so I'm going to go into this account. This account is very much like what your account might look like when you first come in. You're going to notice a section here called Getting Started. That section is meant to guide you, and so it'll show you all the steps you need to do to get yourself positioned to have success with Cloze. Of course, our team is always available. We've got Cloze University that you can take self-paced learning. We've got a help center. Our team is available 7 days a week. So we're here to guide you as you go, as you have questions. And of course, these live sessions we're doing from now all the way till September are also here for you as well. But this inside of Cloze tutorial will help guide you down the right path. So a couple of key things here. When you come in, you're going to see Get Started, Import Your Contacts. If you click on this, it's going to bring up this tutorial here. And this little wizard will guide you through. The first thing you're going to notice is connect an email account. As you set up your account, you have connected an email account. Google, so Gmail, and Microsoft Outlook, those two are the most popular email accounts. When you connect either one of those, we're also bringing in your contacts, calendar, OneDrive, Google Drive, so a lot of other things too. So that'll already be connected in those contacts that you've already organized inside of either Google or an Outlook have been brought into Cloze. You can optionally import other types of contacts too. We encourage you to do so. So this one, import phone contacts, if I tap on that and I'm on my computer, it's going to say, put in your phone number and we'll text you a link to download the Cloze mobile app, either on Android or on iOS. Okay. Encourage you to do that, because once you do that, you can import your contacts, but also everything I'm going to talk about today is about how you can use Cloze on a daily basis. One of the nice things about Cloze is that our apps on mobile are exactly the same as on desktops. There's no functional difference. In fact, we started off only mobile, so everything we did was there, and then we eventually went to desktop, which is kind of the opposite of a lot of other platforms. It's kind of amazing how few systems have a full-featured mobile app at this point. So everything you can do on your computer, you can also do on your phone. So as you are away from your desk, you can do all kinds of things with your phone. So I encourage you to get that set up. If you haven't downloaded the app, just go to the Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and search for Cloze with a Z, and you'll find Cloze. This next one is also really important. Import a file. Let us import your file. So see this option here? We have a self-service one, but if you have a spreadsheet, for example, an export out of another CRM, send it to us. Just click here and it'll bring up an email, and then right corner, see where it says attach, you can just drag it. Well, the attach file paperclip there, attach your file, and then you can type in some notes about the file to us optionally, and then click send in the upper right corner, and our team will help you out. So if you send that to us, we'll help import it for you. Things like, tell us the details. Is this a list of all your clients that you've had over the years? Is it a holiday card list? Is it leads? Whatever you got, or an export of another CRM. If you tell us what CRM, that can be helpful. We have automatic mappings, as they're called, for all kinds of different CRMs to make it easy to migrate. So if you've got anything you want to move over into Cloze, we're here to help. That's the message here. Just make sure you do that. Okay. So when you're done with that step, it'll progress along. The next one is organize your top 50. So if you attended the class on Wednesday, you saw me do this, but if you missed that class, here's a quick recap. So what this organizing tool does is Cloze's AI is going to analyze all your relationships based on what you've connected. So if you've connected your email account, that's your email and calendar communications with your clients. If you've got multiple email clients, it will analyze all the email sources you've connected. If you connect your phone, it's also going to analyze your call and text patterns with everybody. And that's going to give us a pretty rich understanding of who you know and who you know well. If you get out of touch with somebody, we're going to remind you automatically. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But in this context, so for organizing, what it's going to do is organize the people that you know best. It's going to suggest those people at the top. So I know Elizabeth here, you can see her name. And all I have to do is tell Cloze by tapping on all these check marks if she's a buyer or a seller. That's this column here. And then that intersects with whether she's warm, hot, in contract, or closed. That's that journey we've been talking about. So I've got Elizabeth. Is she warm, hot, in contract, or closed? And then going this way, is she a buyer? Is she a buyer and seller? So is she working with me on both sides? Or is she a seller or a renter? Okay. So if I go across and I say she's a hot buyer, great. I got Jared. I know he's a hot seller. Check there. You can see how it's just advancing to the next person. I got Gina. I know she's a hot buyer. Hank here. I know he's a in contract seller. Jackson, I know he's a warm seller. You can see how it's just moving through here. Now, if I get to Holly and I'm like, I can't remember where she's doing, what she's doing, I'm going to skip her. Okay. So you can just click. I got a couple of Hollies here, and I got Jeannie. I know she's this warm seller. Then just keep moving. Okay. So you can go through. The goal is to try to get to 50 to 100 here in this first pass. If you stop at 25, that's fine. You can always come back and organize more. But generally, we want to make sure you get your core sphere organized. And these are the people that you've worked with in the past, the people that refer you business on a regular basis. That's your core sphere. Okay. Also, it could be friends and family if you're working with them. More about that later, but just think about who gives you business. That's kind of generally the way to think of your sphere. Cloze is a really good sphere-based CRM. We'll talk more over time about lead management and teams and all that, but when it comes to staying on top of your sphere, it can really, really help you out. Okay, so go through this, and that'll help organize. The next screen you're going to see allows you to set what we call your keep in touch schedule. So how often are we going to remind you to get back in touch with these different segments? So we've got buyers and sellers. Remember the ones we were looking at before. So if I've got somebody who's a warm buyer, I'm going to be reminded every 3 weeks. The key thing here is this isn't an arbitrary reminder every 3 weeks. It's based on the last time you talked to somebody. So when you have your phone connected, your calls, your texts, and then you have your email account, you've got your email communications and your calendar. Those four things are being tracked for you automatically. So Cloze is very precise about when it reminds you. So if you're already talking to somebody, you keep talking to them more frequently than every 3 weeks, we're never going to remind you because you're already talking to them. So we're only going to remind you if you're out of touch. So think of it as like a backstop. Okay. Then you're going to hit save when you're done. So that's the quick organize. I'm going to stop there on that, but I do want to go into the people section here and go through a few profiles. So you can see here, little dot along the side here. This tells me the stage that they're in. So if I click on John, you can see the color coding matches up. Okay. Gives you a different view. Now, a few things on this profile. I'm in his profile here. I can see the people on the left. So this view can be helpful if I'm just trying to speed through contacts and I want to quickly switch. So I'm just clicking between them. So that gives me a nice way to switch between them. We have other views, if you click up here, that I can switch between. For example, the table view. So the nice thing about the table view is I can see a lot of data and I can configure it all at once. So I can still switch between them, but it's going to give me full focus on the contact when I select it. So if I go back to John here, notice I can only see John. There's no other column there. Okay. So that's a big difference on those. But it also gives you this compact view. I can configure the columns I see. So you can see the ones I have, but if I wanted to add another column, I could. So I could scroll down and say, give me first met and some other detail here, spouse, lead source, whatever matters to me. And I can just click anywhere outside here and these other columns have been added for me. So first met, spouse, lead source were added. I can also reorganize these. So if I wanted to change, I can move the position of the columns. So now I've got first met and last interacted next to each other. I could put lead source. I can move that too. Maybe I want to put this at the end. Okay. So you can do all kinds of things there. You can also change the width of the column. You want to make it wider, more narrow, whatever you'd like. Okay. So a quick little view there on that, but this table view, especially on desktop, can be quite helpful. You'll see the same option on a tablet as well. On a phone, there isn't as much room for that, so you won't see that there. But otherwise, the table view can be quite helpful. Now, while we're looking at this, a few things. I've got Harold. I skipped him. If I click on him, he's a good version for us to look at. So I've got timeline view. These are all my calls with him. Got notes, any notes I have. I haven't created a note. Any files I have, no files yet. And then to-dos, anything coming up. So these are the sections I've got across. I'll look at a richer profile as we go in here, but gives you an idea of some conversations. The right side, when we're organizing, is where you're going to see the relationship section. So this is the journey. Warm, hot, in contract, closed and lost. That's the journey. And then below is who they are to me. And then we call that a segment. So if Harold here is a buyer, I can mark him as a buyer, and then I just have to decide where on the journey I am with him. So let's say he's warm. So I'm just getting to know him maybe, or I'm trying to help him decide if he's going to transact in the near term. So I haven't quite qualified him that. That's kind of the way to think of it. Generally, I think of hot as anybody who's going to transact in the next 60 to 90 days. Okay. So that's the journey. Now, it could be that I made a mistake. I want to change it. Just switch the seller. Easy. You can switch those around. Okay. So that's the journey, warm, hot, in contract, closed, and lost. And there's seller. Our other class will go into more detail about organizing contacts, but I wanted to make sure you had that baseline one there for you so you know how that works. Okay. Now, if you have other details, you can expand these sections. So, for example, if I wanted to expand and add important dates, if I knew his birthday, so say I knew his birthday was on, April 9th, I can set it. Now, notice I didn't bother with the year. If I don't know the year of his birthday, that's okay. You just want it to recur every single year. Same thing with any of these other dates. If I want to set the sale anniversary to a specific date, same thing. I can just set it. Easy to do. Okay. And then every year I'll get a reminder. If I need to edit a contact, click on edit. and then you can make any changes you'd like in here. So first section is all about who they are, and then contact info is here. Look for the plus. If you want to add something, just add it. If you want to remove, hit the minus. And then when you're done, hit save. Okay, so that was kind of a quick overview there. We're going to go into a little more of the bulk organizing here, and then I'm going to switch over the rest of the presentation. We'll get into using Cloze on a regular basis. So another option for you is, say I've got a bunch of contacts here and I know that they're all warm buyers. I could just keep scrolling like this, and I say, okay, these 7 people that I've selected, notice it says 7 up here, are all warm buyers. I can tap on this big check mark in the right corner, and this gives me bulk actions I can take. If I select change, so it says change right here, I can then set whatever they are. Now this is going to change it for all 7 people. So if I say they're all warm buyers, and then I hit save, it's going to update. You can see it's going to change for 7. And now all 7 of those people, you can see it just popped up, are all warm buyers. Okay. So a very fast way to do that. Okay. Now another thing we skipped over is tags. So notice right below the person's name, you can add tags. If I start typing in a tag name, it's going to search for any existing tag. So I don't have a tag yet for VIP, but if I type it and then I select it, it's going to create the tag and add it. So it could be holiday card is my tag here, and then I can create it. So I just added 2 tags for Abigail here. And then if I want to find all the people with those tags, I just start typing, select the tag, and then it's going to bring back, in this case, Abigail's the only person, so I only have 1 person on the list. So tags are really helpful outside of that journey I was just showing you. Okay, so that was a very quick overview of how to organize. Last thing I'll leave you with is, as you're going through this, you tap on the funnel. We have all kinds of very interesting sorting options. So best relationship is our default. If you're wondering what the sort order is here, we don't use alphabetical as our default because alphabetical sorting isn't very useful. The ones that I find very helpful beyond best relationship are activity based. So when was the first time I met somebody? The last time I interacted with somebody? When was the last time they interacted with me? So you can see in these columns on the right, last interacted, first met, that's the same here. Okay, so we just, interacted with John here 9 days ago, but we first met 6 years ago. So things like that can be very, very helpful. You can do alphabetical sorting if you wish to do so, but it's not that helpful. Generally don't recommend using it. But as you go down, you're going to see a lot of things. Another one that's super helpful, created, contact that was created, or new and untouched. Classified, contacts our AI is recommending you classify. These are all great ones to use. So explore those over time. They can be very, very helpful. All right, I'm going to switch over to a different demo account here. Give you a little tour, a little further extension on the tags. So if I go to people, you can see here's that same thing. This is what your kind of more like what your account will look like over time, is what this demo account will show you. So I wanted to show you where you start, and then this is where you can kind of get to. Notice how I have a lot of different tags here. So if I go to Margaret, you can see I've got a whole bunch of tags. This is kind of like the maximum number of tags I put on there. At a certain point, you get to too many, but you can have as many as you want. So you can see there's quite a few. I've got, she's into some sports here. You can see gift. She's into fishing, holiday card list. She gets a gift. I'm using Real Scout with her. So you get a pretty good feel for any of the tags that I'm using. If I click on an X, I can remove that tag and it's removed. If I want to add or create, start typing, and you can see I started typing the word new. This one, not used. I'd create it. Newton Chamber and newsletter are 2 others that start with the word new. You're going to see a number along the right. This is the number of contacts that have that tag. Okay, easy to do. Now, if I want to search and find people, Again, hashtag, start typing it in. I'm going to look for holiday card. Now, this is a list of all 101 people that have holiday card tag. This is where you can start taking action with Cloze. So from here, again, that big check mark, look for that. I can do all kinds of bulk actions. I could send an email to all of them. I could log postal activity. So maybe I put a postcard in the mail. I can change. Maybe I want to add another tag. So there's lots of things you can do. You can also export to generate mailing labels and things like that. So if you wanted a spreadsheet or you wanted to create a PDF for Avery labels, all those things can be done under a bulk action. Okay. So if I want to send a mail merge, this means sending an email to many people at once. I would do that through here. So you can see how it's flipping through the names: Dana, David, Gina. Each person will receive their own copy of this email. If I was to look outside of Cloze, after I push the send button, 101 emails are going to get sent out. Pretty handy. When it comes to content, you can type in whatever you want. Remember, Cloze is an email client, meaning if I type up a message here and I send it, it's going to be sent through my real email. So this will be sent through your real email. It's not a BCC, just like if you typed up 101 individual emails and started typing them out. Whenever you see the light bulb, that's our ghostwriter. You can use it to create content. There's some pre-canned ones here, but you can also click other topic and type in anything you want. So you could say, wish a client a happy summer and enjoying downtime. Not a very well-written sentence, but the AI will figure it out. You can set the tone. You can see all different types there. So I'll just say authentic. You can do languages, things like that. If I hit start writing, it's going to write up an email for me. And now I could send that off to everybody. And again, it'll be personalized. So each person gets hi and then their name. Your email signature will be below it. But every person's going to think you just typed that up and sent it just to them. So it's a nice way to engage with a lot of people. Feels authentic, easy to do. So just a simple example of why you're organizing. You can do a lot more things, but that's a good example. Okay, so next I want to go into the agenda. That's the main attraction. So let's dive into how we can use Cloze on a daily basis. So as you can see here, this is that set of items that you're marching down. This shows how they've been completed. The last one here is start using Cloze on a daily basis. The nice thing about the agenda is it works automatically. So you first get into Cloze, you're going to see things there. It's going to have people, our AI has just automatically started recommending you reach out to. It's going to have things from your calendar, all kinds of different activities. So I always like to start off with Shirley here because she's been using Cloze for a long time, but she's in the same seat you were in, right? She did a survey many years ago. She tried a lot of different tools, a lot of different CRMs, trying to figure out what would help her the most with her business, because that's the goal of using a CRM. And there's lots of people out there who talk about, hey, you got to use a CRM, but they can frankly be a lot of work. And if you've attended some of the other classes, we talk about how we eliminate a lot of that work. We automatically organize your contacts. We automatically track calls and texts and emails. And a lot of the stuff you normally have to do by hand, Cloze is doing for you. We take all that information that Cloze is automatically tracking for you and apply artificial intelligence to it. So I know there's all kinds of AI out there that we've been hearing about for the last couple of years in great detail. But one of the core things is it's going to analyze your relationships, understand who they are, and then start surfacing them. So what Shirley's saying here is, oh, that client. It's so easy to let people just slip off because you forget about them. We get busy, time goes by, and then months go by, and then it's kind of harder to stay engaged. Cloze will keep you in that flow so you don't. And so that's why it's impacted her business. It made a material difference. So think of it that way. And as you go, you'll get a feel for it. I always throw in Julia here too, because I think both these agents do a great job of explaining how it's helping their business. And so for her, pretty skeptical agent, right? She started off, it's probably 3 years ago now, and came to the first class and said, I've tried a lot of these tools and they don't all really help me at all. But she took the class and she did what we said, and she got herself set up and started checking the agenda, which is what today's all about. And then Cloze had surfaced a client of hers. She hadn't talked to in a long time. Did what we said, which is just reach out, have a conversation, be human. And he was ready to buy again. And so her advice here was don't overthink it. What you've heard from all the AI conversations we've been having is that it can help you and it will work alongside you. It's not going to replace you. It's just working alongside you, making sure you don't miss stuff. So think of it as another tool you have that will just work and help you out. Okay. When it comes to using Cloze throughout the day, I generally kind of break it down in different parts of the day. The morning is a really powerful time where you can get a lot done. So before the kind of busyness and the chaos of the day begins, start in Cloze is my general message here. Start here. It's going to include a variety of different things. Cloze will be your action plan for the day. It's going to bring together all the things that it's recommending you keep an eye on. Okay, that's going to include birthday reminders, keep in touch reminders, the basics of staying in flow with your core sphere. So instead of you manually creating a list, it's going to do that for you. So if you can spend 15, 20 minutes a day on that, that will make a huge difference in your business. Remember, like I said earlier, Cloze is a mobile app first product. So make sure you download it for your iPhone and Android phone. You can take Cloze with you. You can take notes. You can look up clients. You can take care of other things you didn't take care of in the morning. There's all these little moments in the day where you have time. Use it throughout the day. When you get back, you can go back to your computer. Everything is synced securely in the cloud. So you can move back and forth between the different devices, follow up on anything that's come in. And then I always like an end of day kind of wrap up routine because you can kind of set yourself up for the next day or for later in the week. So think of it as that routine. You'll stay on top of a lot of things. You'll get a lot more done. And Cloze is going to do most of the heavy lifting for you here. So it's really just you focusing on your relationships. So start on the today section of the agenda. That's where it's going to focus you anyway, by default. That's your action plan for the day. It's going to pull it all together for you automatically without you having to do anything. I know a lot of CRM tools, they're like an empty box and you got to do all this work and you got to keep setting reminders and notes and all kinds of things. You do a lot of filtering. You create a lot of lists inside the CRM to say, okay, I got to filter by these people and then call these people. When was the last time I did this? The point of the agenda is to pull all that data out and organize it and give you a plan every day. I always talk about not starting in your inbox. I think inbox is easy and very tempting for a lot of us. And if you've talked to a lot of real estate coaches, they'll talk about this as well. Your email is somebody else's agenda kind of being pushed on you by them. There's a lot of other work that's important to your business that can get lost or not touched because you're focused on your inbox. I'm not saying don't check your email, but if you start on the agenda, get that out of the way, and then you can get to your email later. Really important emails are going to come through and show up on the Cloze agenda anyway. So you're going to see leads and important clients and things like that. We'll pull them out of your inbox and pull them forward. But the idea is organize it around your business, take care of those actions. Now, what you're also going to see is a lot of things just change, a lot of different things throughout the day. It's going to be different every day because some days you may not have birthdays, right? So you're not going to see them there. So we're only going to surface things that matter at the right time. I like to start on my phone because I tend to do calls. So simple swipe action to the right, I can email or call. If you're doing a bunch of calls, it's easier to do it if you start on your phone. We've built and designed Cloze so that you can take action within it without having to bounce out. In all cases, you're using your real email, your real calendar, your real text, your real email, phone, etc. Okay, so all that's your real services. You're not getting a new number or anything like that. The other thing that's important to know is that just because you did dial from Cloze doesn't mean you have to do that for it to be automatically tracked. If you decide I'm going to switch over the phone app and dial somebody up outside of Cloze, not doing it through that swipe action, it's still going to track it. Okay. So swipe right to take action and swipe left to finish up. I'll demo this in a moment, but generally think of it as like marking something done or clearing it or skipping it, that kind of thing. You're going to go to the left, go to the right to email, call, snooze, that kind of thing. All right. Keep in touch reminders. If you take away anything from today, keep in touch reminders are a really important thing to focus in on because they're going to help you stay in touch with your sphere. That's their goal. they're also going to nudge you about people that you may not have organized, because again, the AI is analyzing and understanding everyone you've interacted with. And if there's somebody you know really well and you haven't organized them yet, it's going to find that person and remind you automatically. Okay. What I like about Spencer's quote here is, in his old CRM, he'd spend a lot of time sifting and sorting through lots of lists that he created. And we can do lists too. We call them audiences. But I hear a lot about smart lists these days, and everybody's got smart lists and things like that. Smart lists are fine, but you're doing a lot of sifting and sorting. So the difference with Cloze is we're surfacing those people onto the agenda. So you just go down your list and make your calls. It's the exact same thing. We're just doing it one step further, saying, okay, here's a group. So trust the system to put the right people in front of you. And that's what he loves about how Cloze works. So the way this works is, again, connect your email, your calendar, your phone, and your text, and this will make this really accurate. But based on what you've got connected, it's going to remind you based on those patterns. So you can see Gina, it's been 28 days, and Cloze is now reminding me to get back in touch with Gina. Very simple. So it's based on the last time you communicated with somebody. If I continuously talk to Gina, it's not going to remind me, not an arbitrary date. Now, what you're also going to see are two types of reminders. First one is more, think of that as more the here and now, the people you've been engaged with, people you've organized, people that, and I'll show you these settings in a moment, that you've said, keep me in touch with them every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, whatever it might be. Cloze will very precisely know the last time you communicated and remind you. We also have what are called blasts from the past. These might be my favorite, because what our AI is doing is it's going back in time, understanding who you know well, who you once worked with very deeply, but have gotten out of touch with over time. So what you're going to see, we'll only give you a couple of these a day at most, is people that you worked with intensively, but haven't talked to in many years. They tend to be past clients, people you worked with, and then for whatever reason drifted off. So to me, that's where the gold is. That's where the relationship gold is, because that's meaningful opportunity for you. Somebody you helped buy or sell 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, Cloze caught that and is resurfacing it. That's where we get amazing stories. We get people coming back to us and saying, I don't know how you found this person, but you did, and they're ready to sell. Thank you. Right. So those are the stories we love. So keep an eye out for those. That's going to make a big difference. I like, when I go through this presentation, I always like to show the voice of the agent, because this community is using it day in and day out, and their stories are what, how we build features and how we interact and how we understand how businesses run. And so when we capture these stories, I think it's good to surface them. And so Jay's story is a good one, because he's top performing agent, does very well for himself, doing quite well, using Cloze, doing ninja selling, and then the pandemic happened, and he kind of got out of pattern because there was this bubble, especially where he was operating, and it was very easy. I think his quote was, you could go into a Starbucks and pick up a client. And so he was, not tending to his business the way he was previously, because it was easy. And then the market fell off and his business dried up. And so he kind of started over. And that's why I love his story. We have this in our blog. But what he did is exactly what I'm recommending you do today. He got his core sphere organized, about 200 people, and religiously just started going through a morning routine. And his point is that if you do that, all you got to do is log in, spend 15, 20 minutes. There's no more stress. It's a relief. You will not lose clients because they're staying in your orbit. They're staying in flow with you, and you just do the work, and it's not a huge investment, and then you get the rest of the day. And it's made a world of difference. And there's all kinds of stories there of people he stayed in touch with that never thought they'd be, refer him what they did, and they keep referring him business. And that's the point. So when it comes to keep in touch reminders, there's 5 different options for you. There's the first swipe position. Remember the action to the right. First one is snooze. Next one is mail. Next one is call. Okay. So those are the first 3. And then if you go the other way, you can skip. Then the bottom one is mute. I'll give you a live demo of this in a second. The skip option will just skip the current reminder cycle and then remind you again. So if the reminder was every week, it'll remind you next week. So if his reminder was 3 weeks, it'll remind you 3 weeks later. Mute means just that. We'll just stop reminding you. It is completely normal to see some people on there that you don't care about. It's AI. It doesn't know exactly. It just knows you were communicating. So it could be an agent that you work with on a deal, and now you're done with that agent. Fine, mute them. But most of the time, it's going to be people that really matter to you, so you won't need to mute. Okay. So the way this is working is the AI is analyzing. It's looking at your calls, your texts, your emails, and it's going to wait until it's time to reach out based on whatever analysis it's done or based on your settings. So we come back to that journey on the right there. We've got warm, hot, in contract, closed, and lost. And then below, there's a segment. So in this case, we've got a warm seller. That combination of warm seller can have its own schedule for keep in touch reminders. So I could say for warm sellers, remind me every 3 weeks. For hot sellers, I could say remind me every 3 days. In contract could be every 3 days, whatever makes sense. And so if I'm not talking to that warm seller every 3 weeks, it's going to remind me. If I'm not talking to that hot seller every 3 days, it will remind me. But if I'm continuously talking, won't remind me at all. Okay. Now this is where you can adjust the settings. I'll show you this as well, but in settings, you're going to see a section called people and companies. Each segment has its own slider that you can adjust. So when you look at the settings, you're going to see all those different stages and segment broken down with a slider. So I've got warm buyers, hot buyers, in contract, closed buyers, and lost buyers. Then you can see the slider to the right. Hot buyers there where the arrows are set to a week. I could slide that left or right to make the reminder more frequent or less frequent. Okay. If you have any questions about this, ask our team. This is generally things that you're going to be doing a little bit of. You're not going to be tinkering with this too much. My general advice there is don't over set it. You want to make sure that you're not being too aggressive with your keep in touch reminders. Some people will come in and say, I want to be reminded every 3 days about all my contacts, and that's just too much. Okay. So here's Cloze on my phone. Do this on the live demo here. You can see I got the keep in touch section here I've got Gina, Karina, Sarah, got 3 people up. Here's those swiping actions. So the first position is snooze. So if I say snooze, I could pick a different time, later today, this evening, tomorrow. If I release on mail, you can see how it's lit up. That'll bring up an email. Now remember from previous classes, we're going to include a built-in template. That's what this is, my email signature. If you have not set up your email signature, reach out to our team. We're more than happy to help, but there is some built-in templates there for you. When you send an email through Cloze, you're sending it through your real email, just like we talked about before with the mail merge. We do layer some features on top of this that are worth noting. Upper right corner, if I tap on the drop-down arrow, you can see a variety of different options for sending. A few that of note, schedule. I can pick a time. So if I want this to go out later, I could do that. So I could say this evening, tap on the check mark there. I could also set a follow-up reminder. So remind me if Gina doesn't reply next week. So if she doesn't get back to me, I'm going to get a reminder. If she does, then I won't get the reminder. Check mark again on the left. And then the bell icon right there, that's probably our most popular email feature. That's email open and link click tracking. When Gina opens this email, I'm going to get notified she opened it. So really popular feature, very helpful. If she clicks on any link, I'll get notified. You'll get a push notification to your phone. You'll see it on your watch screen, that kind of thing, but really helpful. Remember the light bulb icon? If I tap on that light bulb, this is our ghostwriter. You can have it rewrite that built-in template. So I'm going to click authenticity and have it rewrite the email. So it just rewrote that. It's been a while since we last chatted. So a quick little rewrite. going to tap on the light bulb again and say, give me a new subject. So ghostwriter subject. And it just wrote a new subject. Long time no chat. Let's catch up. So easy thing to do. And then I could push send. Okay. So I only have 3 keep in touch reminders today. I could skip any one of them if I wanted to. So you can see Gina was 2 months, Corinna was 21 days, and Sarah Allison 7 days. If I skip Sarah, I'll get reminded a week from now. If I mute her, I won't get any more reminders. So I go this way. I got these 3 options. This last one is call, right? So if I call Gina, it'll bring up the options, and then I can just tap on her phone number, the phone number I want to dial. So if there's multiple numbers, you can pick from them. The one on top is the last one you used. So if you're not sure, pick the one on top. Okay. Very simple. So those are the keep in touch reminders. Now I want to show you the settings. You can do this either on your computer or on your phone. Exact same thing. I'm going to show you a little bit of each. So for Corinna, let's tap on her. You can see if I tap on about, she's a warm buyer. Okay, so remember that for Corinna. She's got 21 days. Oh, I changed it. Sorry. Swiped it away. We'll do Sarah. So Sarah's an in-contract seller. Okay. And she's 7 days ago. If I tap on more, lower right corner, and I go to settings, I can go to people and companies, and then the gears next to each one of these allow me to change my settings. So you can see she was an in-contract seller, and the schedule is every week. So that's why she was there. Okay. So I'm doing this on my phone. I'm going to switch over to the desktop because I think it'll be easier for you to see. Okay, so there's Sarah, in-contract seller. On the left, click on more, settings. Then you can scroll down to the people and companies section. And then I can adjust the keep in touch reminders for any of these segments. So if I go to seller, you can see in the background it says in contract seller. Click on the gear, and then here are my settings. So warm sellers every 3 weeks, hot sellers every 2 weeks, in contract sellers every week. And then just use the slider to adjust. Okay. Very easy to do. All right. So that's keep in touch reminders. Again, key one to drill into. Highly recommend checking that one out. All right. Goal tracking. If you've ever used Apple's Health app or the equivalent that Google has, one of the things you'll notice about it is it automatically just set your goals. You'll see those rings, and then it starts nudging you. Few more steps, a few more flights of stairs, that kind of thing. Well, it does that based on how you move. So it knows the difference between somebody who sits behind a desk and somebody who's an elite runner, right? Very different types of movement. You run 10 miles a day versus walk a couple miles, very different. Those goals are different. So it's going to nudge you to keep on pace. Cloze is the exact same thing. So when you get in here, you're going to see a goal section just like this. And it's going to be based on how often you communicate with your sphere, what kind of reactions you get back. So how much outreach you do per week, what the reactions look like. And when you connect SkySlope or dot loop, it's going to bring in all that information. So your sides and GCI. So it's based personally on you and how you work, when you tend to do outreach. So is it the beginning of the week, the middle of the week? And it's going to understand the seasonality of real estate. So the ebbs and flows of real estate. By doing all of that, it gives you a really unique and precise set of goals based on who you are. It's a weekly goal, so it won't be too stressful, but it's going to nudge you to stay on pace. And that's what you can see in here. So completely built in seasonality adjustments. So we've done that. We did a lot of work on this when we built it out, because I know a lot of these tools tend to be very manual. So we wanted to take all that out. We also wanted to take the daily pressure out. And so that's why the goals are weekly. The pacing is what to keep an eye on, because if you get too far behind, it's hard to catch up. So what we're trying to do is saying, hey, a few more to go, just like a few more steps to go, and you'll get there. So you can send a couple of things. But again, the things that we have on the agenda will get you there. So you don't have to go look for things to do. They're going to see them on the agenda. Reach out to those people. The guidance are the 5 more, 3 more, that kind of thing. Pacing is the arrow. And then another thing that's different about this, that if you've used any of the other ones, is these last 2 bullets are pretty important, because it's based on your real calls and texts, your real email. So there's no, faking it. The truth is there, but it's also data driven. So it's based on real data. It's really very, very accurate, which I think all these other tools where you got to fill in spreadsheets just don't do that for you. We don't want it to be a lot of work. We just want to make sure you're staying on pace to get to your goals. So that's what you see along the top. So you'll see weekly goals. So you can see 34 per week is my outreach, 25 per week is my reactions, and then I got a GCI goal of 264. I can see on the right side my annual goal. If I adjust that, and you can adjust it, so we're going to do it automatically, but if you want to adjust it, it's going to backfill whatever else you need to do. So if you change your GCI, it's going to increase your outreach per week. And there's a reason for that. We did a ton of analysis, thousands of agents in the study, to understand what that funnel looks like, so to speak. And there's an exact correlation. For every 10 sides you want to close, you need to reach out to 4 clients per day. And it just works over and over again. And we can see that in the data. So that's what you see represented. 28 per week, you get 21 reactions. The reaction rate is important because you need to be reaching out to people that are part of your sphere, right? People you're getting to know. If you're just kind of blindly reaching out, these ratios aren't going to hold as much. But it is correlated. So if you reach out to your core sphere, they're engaging with you, you will get the numbers you want to meet your goal. So if you increase your outreach, it will impact your sides. Now, as part of our rethinking here, we wanted it to be very flexible and automatic. We also didn't want to stress you out. So that's why we have a weekly goal. You can see where you are. So in this example, I've done 17. I got 5 more to go to stay on pace. When I'm doing something, I want to know it's working, and that's that middle column. That's the reactions. And then the arrow there that just got circled, that's where I need to go for the day to stay on pace for the entire week. So that's why it says 5 more to go today, or just 1 more for the other 2. So as long as I hit that arrow just about every day, I'm in really good shape for the entire week. But it will nudge you to catch up too. So if you get behind, no problem. You know exactly what to do to catch up. So if you're on your agenda, this is what it looks like. This is a demo account, obviously. So middle of the week, been doing my outreach. I got 53 for the week. I've done 33. I got 2 more to go. Need a little more on the reaction side, but I'm ahead of pace at 11 for the 19 sides I need to do for the year. Okay. Now, if you want to adjust this, you can swipe and change it like that. And then if you click on any of the gears, you can change the target. So if I turn off automatic, I can type in whatever number I want. So if I want to put in 55 or 75, I could do that. I can also reorder. So if I want to put GCI in front of sides, I could do that. When I hit close, notice the GCI number is there. So I've got 167 so far. I got 358 as my target. I want to change it back. Okay. If you swipe the other way, I can see the details. This is helpful to see how often I'm hitting my weekly goals. Okay. So you can see that arrow and the check marks. Every time there's a check mark, I know I've hit that for the week. You might miss, might be a holiday week, you're on vacation, but generally you want to try to click them all. Now you might be asking, I see 3, but when you went the other way, I saw other goals. You can have as many goals as you want. You can add ones on your own, just tap on new goal. You can adjust these, switch these around. But when we did all the analysis, 3 goals. That's why you see 3 rings for Apple. It's pretty much what we can handle as humans. So focus on the 3, and then, if you put too many, it becomes overwhelming. All right, AI reminders. I love this one from Adam because we all get super busy, and one of the ways AI can help is just ensuring things don't slip through the cracks. So what he's getting at here is he's not talking about keeping touch reminders. What he's talking about is Cloze's ability to analyze email and catch things in our email that we might have missed. So it could be you just didn't reply to an important customer, right? You got a client, they emailed you. Cloze understands if that person is important or not. So it's not going to remind you about a spam email. But if that person is somebody you know really well and you haven't responded to them, Cloze will know that and remind you automatically. Okay. It's also going to look for things you need to get done. So in this example, somebody said, hey, give me a call on Saturday morning. Well, when Saturday morning comes around, Cloze is going to remind me automatically. That's really helpful. Another example, documents. Do you have an important document it comes in to sign, like a SkySlope document or DocuSign document? It's going to remind you. So it'll push that. You'll get a push notification to your phone. So little things here and there, it's going to just catch and pull out. We've talked about how it keeps your database up to date. Well, it'll do that with email signatures too. So you meet somebody new and they've got an email signature with contact information in it that you have not yet added to Cloze. Cloze is going to just add it for you, so you don't have to do it. Very simple. All right, let's look here for some examples of those. I go down a little bit. There it is, important message. Let's click on that, tap on that. So somewhere in here, this email came in this morning, 7 a.m. it looks like. There it is. Please send me anything that fits the bill this evening. So Cloze caught it at 7 a.m., analyze the email, and it's going to set a reminder for me at 6 p.m., which is my this evening, right? So I'm going to get a reminder this evening. Really simple. So keep an eye out for these. You're not going to see them all the time, but a good example of the AI just catching things and reminding you. Next one is link click tracking. Sorry. Right there in the middle are some examples, open mail. So you can see I sent some emails out, one to Lem, one to Skylar. First one's about a real estate review. Next one is just a checking in. How you been? They opened it, and then I saw the notification. So remember earlier when I was showing you on the email, when I swiped the bell icon under the menu. So if you send an email through Cloze, we're going to notify you. And that looks like that. Now, if I tap on one of the notifications and go to the very bottom, it's a long email, you can see it was opened in Gmail. You'll see it at the bottom. It's the only place, only you will see it there. But if you want to see how many times they've opened it, just go to the bottom of the email in the notification. All right, let's look at recurring anniversaries. Talked about this a little bit. One of the nice things you can do is you can set a date for a reminder every single year. So that's a recurring annual anniversary reminder. Purchase anniversary, sale anniversary, birthday, real estate review, lease expiration. These are all examples of dates that you can set. We've got some default ones, but you can also add ones in your account if there's other dates you need to add. When you're looking at a profile, you're going to see a section there where you can add the dates. So add the dates in. You can set them as needed if you have the information. Birthdays are going to come in from any contacts that have that information. So if you have a birthday set in Google or an Outlook, it will sync into Cloze. Same thing with your iPhone contacts or Android contacts. The birthday is unique in that it's part of the contact record for most systems. So we'll sync those in for you. We will not be able to sync them in from Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. We'd love to do that. They don't make it available anymore. They used to about 10 years ago. It's been a very long time, but that's not available that way. But if you know the birthday, you can add it in Cloze, then it's really easy to swipe. I mentioned you can add other dates if you wish to do so. That's in settings. If you have questions about customizing, ask our team here, or in our help center, we've got lots of tools you can use. Now, what this will do is get it to the agenda. You can also automatically have them go out. A lot of folks like to have us automate to the point of reminding them, and then you do the more personal, send a text, pick up the phone. But if you want to just go out automatically, you can do it. It's a single tap to turn that on. Very easy to do. So if we go here, you can see those important dates. I got a birthday, swipe, and then notice it'll be a birthday email. And then for the purchase anniversary, it's a different email. Very simple. Now, one thing I skipped over here with the birthday is if you change this, you rewrite it, you make a change, and you want to update it. See the template icon there, that stacked paper looking icon? If I tap on that one in the lower right, I can hit update, and then all future versions of this reminder are going to have the new birthday wishes template. Okay. So you can feel free to make changes to these built-in ones. Just hit update and save it, and you're good. Okay. So as we wrap up here, I want to talk a little bit about lead management. This is a bigger topic, but it's important to know about. It's a challenge in our industry. We get leads from a lot of different places. Getting them into our CRM can be quite difficult. So what Cloze does is extract that information out of the email alerts you get and brings it in automatically. So if you get a lot of leads, what Cloze will do, or what Cloze can do, is capture that information for you, alert you right away. You'll get a push notification on your phone, and then it's just a simple swipe to get on the phone with them and engage them. You can also go a lot further and fully automate that. Automatically accept the lead, start a campaign to follow up, these kind of things. So alerts will be very simple to look like that on your phone. If you're working as a team, you can route leads to other people. So think of a lead coming into your website, comes into a central place, and then routes out to the people that are there to take them. Lots of flexibility there. Doesn't matter what website provider you have or what lead source, as long as the lead is going into your inbox, we can pull that information out. So quick look at that. See this lead here? This is a very simple example, but just to make sure you are clear on how it works. If I tap on it, you can see fictional lead service here came in, name, email, phone, all the key details are in the email. We extract that information. All I have to do is hit accept and it creates the contact. Again, I did the most manual version of this so that you could see how it works. But when you do click on accept, tap on accept, it's going to mark it as a warm buyer. It's going to set that it was a website lead, create the contact for me, and I can be on the phone very quickly. Again, you're going to get that notification right to your phone so you can react. The automated version of this, that would automate it even further, would be if it auto accepts and then starts an automatic campaign. So an email goes out to engage the person who filled out the lead form to make sure that not too much time goes by. So if you're busy, it can engage and then go from there. The nice thing about Cloze is that because it's connected to your email, it actually knows if you're engaged or if they book an appointment, so the campaigns will stop. All right, last thing I'll leave you with here as we wrap up. I like this from Leslie here. Now he's a managing broker, but his use of Cloze is just a same kind of thing. He's trying to get a lot done. And so his advice here is do your morning routine, go through the people you need to stay in touch with, do all of that. But because he can take it with him, again, remember those mobile apps, there's these little moments between meetings where you're waiting for somebody to show up at lunch, whatever it might be. You can get in there and wish a happy birthday to somebody, send a keep in touch reminder, work through. Your goal is to try to get to the bottom of the agenda. Clear your agenda every day would be the ideal situation. So try to spend 15 minutes or so in there, do your relationship building, makes a world of difference. There's lots of little things you can do in there. Do all that stuff, and then you can move on with the rest of your day. But check it each morning, use it throughout the day, and then come back, do a little bit of a wrap-up routine. That can help quite a bit, and you'll be in really, really good shape. So my homework for you, start diving into that agenda. If you see a contact on there that Cloze surfaces that you haven't organized, organize it. don't have to organize every contact. So remember that advice from the other class. You can check on, them as you go and update as you see fit, but it will make sure that you're really staying on top of your sphere. Those last two bullets, if you need assistance, reach out to our team. We're more than happy to help you with your signature, making sure all that information is in good shape. I know we're at top of the hour here, but if you have questions or if there's any that came in that you want me to address live, I can do that. It is open for registration. So lots of agents are signing up for Cloze and coming in every day. So feel free to sign up. It is open. And then remember that tip I gave you, export your contacts out of your old CRM and we will do it for you. If you need assistance, feel free to go to our help center, help.cloze.com. Our team is there 7 days a week to answer questions for you. You can email support@cloze.com. Also there 7 days a week to answer questions for you. And then check out learn.cloze.com. That's our Cloze University. They will, you can enroll in classes there. They're self-paced learning, really, really assistant. And then follow that built-in assistance I showed you on the agenda. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the last hour to learn more about Cloze. And just as a reminder, we've got classes every single week all the way to September. So next class is on Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Then we have another one on Wednesday, same time, 12 p.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific. So thank you all for joining. Really appreciate it.